It's time to hold Republicans accountable. It's January 2nd, 2025, and these are your headlines. That's right, the first episode of the new year, 2025, and we're already off to a bang. We've got the legislative session in less than 2 weeks, starting in Austin, and Attorney General Ken Paxton is hitting the road, holding a series of events in the coming days to place a spotlight on the ongoing battle to retain Republican control of the Speaker of the House. Last month, Representative David Cook won the Republican nomination for Speaker, but that hasn't stopped Representative Dustin Burrows and a minority of Republican members from attempting to create a coalition with Democrats in order to win the gavel when the legislature meets later this month. Paxton, along with the Republican Party of Texas Chairman Abraham George, is visiting the districts of members he says are undermining the GOP by cutting deals with Democrats. He said that Governor Abbott, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, and the voters of Texas spoke this past year. They expect a Republican-led majority to elect a speaker by a majority of Republican state representatives. Incumbents who made similar ill-fated decisions 2 years ago, including wrongfully attempting to impeach me, he said, are not returning this legislative session. Take this as a warning. If you're making deals with Democrats to block a Republican majority-elected speaker, expect a primary challenge. Texans deserve leadership that reflects their values. Well, Paxton will be headed to Fort Worth, Tyler, Leander, and the Woodlands next week. The Texas Supreme Court on New Year's Eve dismissed a protracted and controversial attempt by the State Bar of Texas to discipline the leadership at the Office of the Attorney General. And the ruling puts an end to what the office described as 4 years of lawfare and political retaliation surrounding actions taken by Attorney General Paxton and First Assistant Brent Webster related to the 2020 election. The case stemmed from a lawsuit filed by the Texas State Bar's Commission for Lawyer Discipline, which sought to impose sanctions against not only Paxton, but Webster over their involvement in a lawsuit challenging the validity of the 2020 election. That was Texas v. Pennsylvania, and it was filed at the Supreme Court in December of that year alongside a coalition of 18 states. The challenge questioned voting mechanisms in several states and aimed to temporarily halt them from certifying vote counts ahead of the vote of the Electoral College. However, the case was dismissed. The State Bar of Texas then launched its legal attack on Paxton and Webster. In September of 2022, the district court dismissed the disciplinary charges against Brent Webster, saying that the allegations were baseless. The State Bar appealed the decision to the Texas Supreme Court, which has now affirmed the district court's ruling, effectively ending the disciplinary action for Webster. He called the actions of the State Bar disgraceful, ridiculous, and a disservice to the people of Texas. But get this, Republican Justices Deborah Lehrman and Jeff Boyd dissented with the majority opinion, holding that it doesn't violate the separation of powers for the judiciary to punish the OAG or his staff. Attorney Tony McDonald said that, in essence, Boyd and Lehrman have taken the radical judicial supremacist position that courts could throw the Attorney General and his senior staff in jail if the court disagrees with their filings.
Hey folks, Chris Salcedo here. I've got something special for you, the Salcedo Storm podcast. As your friendly, liberty-loving Latino, I bring you a mix of engaging discussions to help us fight for our state and our conservative values. It's the perfect way to stay informed and engaged in what's happening around you. So, what are you waiting for? Don't miss out on the storm of information and entertainment coming your way. The Salcedo Storm podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Republican Representatives Briscoe Cain and Brian Harrison are calling the Texas Medical Board to terminate one of its top employees after it was revealed that he also works for Planned Parenthood. On Monday, it was revealed that TMB's medical director, Dr. Robert Brett, has worked for Planned Parenthood of South Texas going back all the way to 2011, where he oversees the operation and administration of the laboratory. Brett joined TMB in 2012 and is currently paid a nice $185,000 salary by taxpayers, by us. Following the news, Cain is urging the Texas Medical Board to terminate his employment immediately. Representative Harrison has written the governor asking that his office work with TMB to immediately remove the individual as well. He's also asking the governor to direct all state agencies to ensure that there are no other Planned Parenthood officials employed by any state agency, including in advisory roles. Now, TMB members are appointed by the Texas governor and confirmed by the Texas Senate for 6-year terms. The board meets 5 times a year to interview licensure candidates, consider disciplinary matters, and adopt procedural rules. And while Barrett's position's not a gubernatorial appointment directly, his employment is overseen by the governor's appointees. For more of today's stories, go to TexasScorecard.com.